Hello again, my friends, and welcome to another devotional connection. Several times this last week, I was asked about my statement about putting some skin in the game as Christians, not just talking the talk, but walking the walk with what we believe. Moses, twice in the book of Exodus, chapter 32, put his life on the line for the stubborn people of Israel. If you remember, this was a journey he didn't want to go on. He made every excuse to needed get out of and needed all types of help just to begin. Yet in the 32nd chapter, Moses finds himself in the position of pleading for the lives of the Hebrew people, not once, but twice, finally putting his eternal life on the line for the lives of sinful people. In this chapter, he exemplifies one of the most basic principles of Christianity that we miss: people. What changed his viewpoint? He went from asking God to send someone else, from practically begging God to allow him his simple life as a shepherd, to now risking his life for all the people he had just met. It is the second of the great commandments in which we struggle the most. We love to proclaim our great love for God, but what about our great love for each other? And what does God say about this? If you can't love your brother who you do see, don't talk about your love for me. That's paraphrased from 1 John 4:20. Moses went from a reluctant leader to someone who now identified himself with the people. He was there for their hardships as the plagues drove Pharaoh to inflict more and more harm on the people. He listened to their stories of hardship and began to earn their trust as time progressed on. He was there as they fulfilled all of God's commands for what became known as the Passover, and walked with them in elation as their freedom finally came. He had been boxed in with them at the Red Sea and watched the salvation of God unfold before their very eyes. He had dealt with their stubbornness in desiring pheasants instead of manna, and listened to their fearful complaints as they continued to march towards the promised land. But he also saw their strengths, their weaknesses. He had compassion for their life story and understood their world lens. He began to feel a responsibility for them and guiding them to the one. He got to the point where he was willing to risk his life for others. He went from being a lone shepherd, a husband, a family man, to finding the purpose of a generation in serving God and risking all for the charge that God had given him. It is an interesting parallel from Moses' call at the burning bush to how it begins in chapter 32. Moses goes from reluctant to resolute, from making excuses to making intercession, from selfish man to the express image of Jesus. Where do you find your purpose? Are you willing to risk all for others? Do you see the people as the greatest treasure in the universe? Ask God today where you can be used to help further His kingdom and find purpose and passion in your life. Talk to you again soon.